Yeah, I think I love that's a profound, important statement that everything you sell has to be serviced. I think that's
Yes.
such an important lesson, and also, the part of your story. It's been my experience in consulting with various clients that are starting up consumer goods companies that, yeah, you can't expect the distributors and the retailers to merchandise your product appropriately, or
That's
make
right.
sure that the reorders happen. Even if your product is doing really well, it is often the case they'll just check that box and move on to something else. And so you've got to police it, as you said. And I
Yes.
think that's,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a
important lesson for anyone in that
popularly
industry.
held misconception. There's a lot of popularly held misconceptions out there when it comes to business. And I think we've been victim to most of them.
I think we've acted on most of them.
Yeah. So yes, we talk a lot about those types of misconceptions in our book and in our audiobook.
So Barefoot Cellars was bought by E&J Gallo Winery in 2005, and
Uh-huh.
E&J being the largest exporter of California wines. How did that deal come about?
Well, a lot of people think that you build your business up and then one day Mr. Big comes knocking at your door. But the real truth is that you really are building your business to sell from day one, whether you think you're going to give it to your kids or you think you have a passion for that business, or you just flat out say, I'm never going to sell it. It is going to sell someday. The question is, are you prepared? So on the one hand, you have to be prepared from day one with just little stuff that you would never think of, like, oh, I had an artist do a logo. Well, the acquirer wants to know, fast forward 20 years, do you have a legal sign off from that artist? Because if we buy you and your logo, we don't want her coming after us. We don't want to buy, a room full of blues here. So we want to make sure that, you're clean all the way around. And we want to know everybody who tried to sue you and every problem you had with any employee. And, and what are you going to do? Say, oh, stay interested. It's around here somewhere. Stay excited about buying my business while I go find that stuff.
I'll
No.
just stop all the things I usually do in my business,
Yeah.
put everything on hold, and go look in those old dusty boxes in the attic.
So the bottom line
Don't do that.
the bottom line is you have to prepare for acquisition on day one,
Yes.
regardless of who is going to buy it, which means you have a file for, problems that you've had. You have a disclosure file, with what's wrong with the business. You have another file on growth. You have another file on personnel, another file on marketing, legal, it goes on, contracts, all of that stuff. So you have about 25 files. It turns out these are the 25 things that every acquirer, including yourself, would be looking for in a business. Now, that's on the one hand. On the other hand,
That means be prepared from day one.
right. On the other hand, Mr. Big doesn't come knocking. What happens is you get your peanut in front of that elephant. So the real question is, how do you do that? So you have to decide, after you've been in business a while, who are the five suspects? Who are the five big acquirers out there in my particular, profession, category, business, however you slice the pie? Who are the big five? One of those big five is going to try to buy me. The question is, which one do you like? Which one would you really feel comfortable is not going to destroy your brand after they buy it, and keep your principles alive? And so you make a judgment, and you have a second and a third. And then what you do is you deliberately get your sales and your products in front of them. In our case, we put our products in the same distributors where our acquirers' products were, so that our acquirer would have people that worked for our acquirer who came back and said, hey, you should take a look at this Barefoot thing. It's going crazy. If you guys don't buy it, somebody else is going to buy it. So, I mean, it's a really great question, Ty. And, there's no simple answer, but there is a process.
Thank you. Yeah, I love the very practical advice and the process oriented advice. I think that's always helpful to the listeners.